Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexiot's here. It is Wednesday, and I'm doing Wow Wednesday, and I'm wowing about the NBA Executive Awards that just came out yesterday. Wow Wednesday on that, mainly because I seen the whole list of who got votes for the Executive of the Year, and we didn't get a single vote here for Bobby Webster. And I've looked at it both ways. I can see why, and I'm okay with it because in some ways this isn't a place where he's going to get votes right now for the work he did this year. He's going to get these votes later. Like he may get the votes next year, like after we see a jump in the Raptors in the standings from a non-playoff team to being a playoff team again. That in some ways, I could make the argument that Bobby Webster deserved some votes as an executive this year for his draft class that he drafted last year, but they're flying under the radar still to the mainstream NBA. Nobody understands exactly who Jamal Shed, Jacoby Walter, Jamison Battle, Jonathan Mobo, and Alrish Shamshay are as a unit. 5 guys that were drafted and brought to the Raptors last year. They don't look at that draft class yet. Sure, they'll look at Washington's draft class and they'll laud the Washington Wizards and what they did with their draft. In fact, did they get any votes? No, they didn't. Okay, rightfully so, they didn't. So if Washington's not getting any votes for their draft class, then we shouldn't get any votes for ours. So that X's that out. So in some ways, it's kind of like the rookies from last year are going to pay off and make Bobby look good and then still to come. And the other move that I would say that would give him attention is the Brandon Ingram trade at midseason. But once again, this is something that has not paid off yet and shown that he did a really good job making that trade because he hasn't shown up and played yet because he's been hurt. So I feel like the work that Bobby did this year that should have maybe gotten some credit from the voters wasn't coming to fruition yet. And that's part of it. I'm not really that upset about Bobby not getting any votes. I don't think it's a big deal. I think in some ways, sure, there's some people that got votes on the list. And I'm like, yeah, really? If you're going to give a vote to this guy, Sean Marks of the Brooklyn Nets, who actually ranked, this is kind of crazy. Brooklyn Nets, Sean Marks is in one of he got 5 votes. Like he got a first place vote as the best GM in the league. That's crazy to me. Like seriously, Brooklyn Nets, seriously? It makes sense that Sam Presti won it because Sam Presti has the best team in the league, and he's done a lot of work, and he's known around the league as one of the top executives. And, Charles Barkley and those TNT guys say there's the top executives are Sam Presti and the Toronto guys. So I expect Sam Presti to win this award, and he did. He was the executive of the year as voted by them. Second was Kobe Altman of Cleveland, who you can make a good case for Cleveland's record and what they've been doing, although they're now down 0-2 to Pacers as of last night. Trajan Langdon, former player who's running things in Detroit, got the 3rd most votes. And I mean, I can't get it mad at that either. He's built a nice young core, and they've had some real good gains this year. So that makes sense. Raphael Stone of Houston got 4th most votes. Yeah, I mean, I guess once again, that's a team that rose up from the bottom and got 2nd place in the Western Conference standings. So these are all perfectly fine. Lawrence Frank, Clippers. I don't know about that. I feel like the Clippers have been mismanaged a long time. That one's the first suspicious one right there. Lawrence Frank. The second one, the suspicious, Rob Pelinka's on this list. Next. Rob Pelinka got 11 total points and votes, a first place vote, a second place votes, and 3 third place votes as the best GM in the league. You're crazy. You are absolutely batshit crazy if you think Rob Pelinka, maybe some people gave him those votes just because of the Luka trade and how he fleeced Dallas in that trade in some ways. I mean, maybe that's the only thing I can make. Neither one of the LA teams should have been getting votes. It's only because of the prominence of their market and the spotlight being on them. Really. Golden State's Mike Dunleavy got 3 third place votes and a second place vote. I mean, I don't know. The Warriors, it's tough to say. I mean, they did win last night. But yeah, Sean Marks, Lawrence Frank, Rob Pelinka, these guys shouldn't be anywhere near here. I can understand Brad Stevens. I can understand Leon Rose. Monte McNair, that's a horrible GM job that they've done in Sacramento. They I don't know what the hell they're doing with their team. They tried to build the Bulls again over there. I don't understand how he got vote. Second place at that. Jeff Weltman of Orlando. Yeah, I don't know about that one either. San Antonio, same thing. I mean, what? You going to give them credit for 2 rookies of the year in a row? Maybe. I don't know. This list is pretty bunk. And, if somebody else, somebody could have given Bobby Webster at least a third place vote somewhere just so his name would appear on the list. But alas, the Raptors only won 30 games this year. And, we weren't really a mover or shaker, somebody that kind of showed something for the season. So it is what it is. So I'm not upset about it. I feel like it misrepresents that the fact that we have one of the best front offices in the league, that our front office doesn't even just get a third place vote somewhere in there, because it's true. I don't care who you ask. If you're going to talk to some people, they're going to tell you Toronto has one of the best front offices in the league. It's just that maybe it doesn't get votes for it. It is what it is. In some ways, this doesn't matter. They're going to get this award in the next couple of years. Watch. Bobby Webster will get this Executive of the Year award in the next 3 years. I'm going to bet you right now he's going to do it. This year, he won't get a vote. He'll be off the radar. But I'm going to tell you, in the next couple of years, Bobby Webster is going to win this award because the Raptors are going to be on the upswing and they're going to show something. And everybody's going to give him credit eventually for the draft class from last year and Brandon Ingram trade. Yep. I'm telling you right now, that's the way I look at it. So once again, these postseason awards, they're coming out right now. They're in the news. In some ways, I don't care about them. They're silly. Some of them are dumb, like Clutch Player of the Year, shit like that. But, Executive of the Year, okay, Sam Presti. That makes sense. He deserves it. He should have won it. But I still think that maybe somebody should have given a little bit of credit or some sort of vote somewhere to old Bobby. That's all I'm saying today. Either way, I know he's going to get this award at some point in the near future because the Raptors are on the rise again. That's right. Trevor J's here. First, words of wisdom. First in. Trevor J, what are you saying today? Let's see what he's saying with his words of wisdom. Yeah, forgive people, but let's be clear. Don't excuse the mess they pulled, and sure ain't letting them back in the same way. So forgive. You can be free. Keep your peace and keep it pushing. Yeah, some people are just meant to be left in the dust. They show themselves in some ways. If you continue to let them linger around, it's your own damn fault if they continue to do the same thing that they did that pissed you off in the first place, that made problem in the first place. So, yeah, in some ways it's hard because you get emotional attachments, or maybe you get used to a toxic cycle and you engage in it further than you probably should have. And, well, this is sound advice. Really good words of wisdom from Trevor. Leave them in the dust. If you let them back in, be careful. And don't let them back in fully in the same way, because in some ways you could get in trouble for it later. That's what I'm saying. Thank you, Trevor, for your words of wisdom and all the things you do for this channel. Trevor's saying also, what a comeback by Indiana to beat Cleveland and break their hearts. Tyrese hit the 3-point shot. Yeah, Halliburton, big time. At the end of the game, clutch factor coming from Tyrese Halliburton. And last second win for the Pacers over the Cavs. Cavs were beating them pretty dang good for most of the game. And people were kind of going, oh, they don't need Evan Mobley. Oh, they don't need Darius Garland. They're fine. They're going to kick their butt. Oh, they don't need them. You needed them because y'all are down 0-2 and you've lost your first 2 home games in this series in the Eastern Conference semifinals. Yeah, y'all are down 0-2 and y'all are the top team in the East. And Indiana has got your number. This is awesome. In some ways, this is disastrous for Cleveland. In some ways, this is fantastic for Boston. It's fantastic for Boston or New York, whoever wins that series. And it's disastrous for Cleveland Cavaliers. It is what it is, and I'm not upset about it. In some ways, the Cavs had such a good regular season. Cavs fans have been feeling so good. They need to feel like this a little bit this morning. They really do. You need to feel a little bit of this, Cleveland Nation, right now. Humbled. That's what you are right now. You're humbled. Y'all got a little too big for your britches all season with your highfalutin, high standings. Well, now you've been knocked down a peg by Tyrese Halliburton and the Indiana Pacers last night. It wasn't even Siakam. Siakam really didn't do a whole lot of the work. He was kind of a dead note last night. 12 points for Pascal, 6 rebounds, 4 assists on 5 of 8 shooting. He wasn't horrible. I mean, he didn't take a whole bunch of shots and miss them. He just didn't take a lot of shots. They may have been really keying on him in some ways. But yeah, it was a big shot by Halliburton, only got 19, but carrying the team for the most part was Neesmith and Miles Turner with both 23. Benedict Mathurin appeared from an injury, came back. This may not be good for Cleveland because Canadian Ben Mathurin's back, and he put 19 off the bench on the Cavs. And that was very, very helpful in this game also. So, yeah, in some ways, it's just a thing where you got to play all the way to the end. And the Pacers played their fast and furious type level kind of offense in the second half and scored 70 points in 2 quarters to make up the difference and come back and win against the Cavs. They also played some good defense because they only held the Cavs to 21 points in the fourth, and they outscored them by 15 in the fourth quarter to make up the difference and beat them by 120 to 119. And the Pacers only scored 15 points in the first quarter. They were getting their ass beat 32 to 15 after the first quarter, and they still came back and won this. This is badass, man. This is badass. It's a testament to the offensive firepower of the Indiana Pacers. When they really want to get some points on the board and try and catch up with you and score, they can do it. They can do it. They've got that ability. So, man, I am so impressed. If you told me the Cavs would be down 0-2 to the Pacers in this series already right now, I would tell you, you're crazy. Well, that's how it is. That's how it is. And this playoff is crazy. I'm telling you, every single team in the second round that had home court lost the first game in their arena. Every single one of them. They finished it last night when the Warriors beat the Timberwolves in Minnesota last night. All 4 top seeds lost game 1 of the second round. Isn't that crazy? That's unprecedented. It's never happened. Seriously, it's never happened. This was the first time in NBA history that this stuff has ever happened. Amazing. Amazing. It's crazy. Seymour's here. Good to see Sheriff Seymour Pape checking in from the Mountain Time. Keep the peace and keep on pushing for real. It's weird to see some get up so early with negative vibes, but hey, I ain't living their life. There you go. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. You know, some people get up on the wrong side of the bed. Maybe you're talking about at work right now, Seymour. I hope it's not me. I'm trying to have good vibes. Sometimes I have a problem with IBS. I have real bad digestive issues. And I can be extra cranky just because I'm in pain, guys. You guys don't even realize that. I have really, really bad digestive issues. I have to really watch what I eat. And if I eat the wrong things, I pay for it. And yesterday, I had a bad day. Like when I got up yesterday morning, I was cranky and I was in a bad shape because I was having abdominal pains while I did the show, guys. And afterwards, I did things to help relieve myself to feel better. But I still had a really bad day yesterday where I was on my ass. I couldn't do anything. I really literally I was immobilized because of my digestive issues. You know, sometimes this is an issue with people. You wonder why they're so cranky. Sometimes they're in pain and they have a hard time just being in a good mood because they're literally having physical problems and you don't even know it. That's the weird thing. Like, you know, you could be in public and somebody's just a total dick to you or somebody's a jerk. And you're like, why is that person just being like that? But you have no idea what's going on with people sometimes. I'm not saying be nice to them and try and reach out to them. I'm just saying, I think that with people, when you interact with them, you've got to turn the other cheek and just kind of like, you know what, there's something wrong there. And it may be mental, it may be physical, it may be that they're just an asshole. But, you know, sometimes that's the best way to deal with it is a humanitarian way. Turn the other cheek and think, you know what, this person's obviously got problems because they're a jerk. But maybe there's some part of their story that I just don't know about. And I'm just going to be like, you know what, in some ways, I don't care what their problem is. I don't care why they're acting like this. I'm just going to be looking at them as a human and saying, you know what, that person is somebody who has a life and they have their own problems they deal with and their own things that they love and everything about that. And in some ways, I don't know exactly why they're like this. You know, in some ways that makes it easier to deal with unexplained, just people being shitty to you. It's like, oh, you cut me off. Okay, well, maybe he's fighting with his wife this morning. You know, there's all kinds of dumb reasons. But I agree with you, Seymour. As much as we can keep the vibes good and strong and positive, that's always the best. But you know what? Below the surface, you may be shocked to find out exactly why people are being such jerks. Seriously, you'd be surprised sometimes, man. I love you, Seymour, and thank you for holding it down in Alberta. Danielle Smith may be talking about seceding, but I give a lot of credit to Premier Mo next door in Saskatchewan saying that we are not involved in any kind of separation from Canada. This is off the table, and we are not doing a petition here in Saskatchewan. So that's good leadership right there. Alberta needs better leadership. Let's just put it that way. The Premier, Scott Moe, you're a fantastic person. I appreciate you. And also, Prime Minister Mark Carney going to Washington to see Trump yesterday. It seemed like that meeting went well. I thought that Carney was strong with him. Maybe a little bit too kind of like, oh, I'm here with Trump kind of bullshit, but also was firm with him. And I think he represented Canada well. And I think the meeting came off pretty good. I think Trump was impressed with him in some ways. In some ways, that's not good. Some ways that is good. But either way, I feel like Carney was strong for Canada in this situation and holding on what we want up here as the Canadian people. And it sounded like in some ways Trump kind of backed down on the whole 51st state kind of bullshit to a degree. He has been saying a lot of things recently, like there will be no military invasion of Canada. And he's also said that, maybe it's a non-starter on us joining the United States. So he's being a little bit more realistic with his bullshit imperialistic, like dreaming, stuff like that. Either way, Trevor's saying Golden State taking game one, first time 4 road teams in the NBA win the game one on the road. Yeah, it's a big deal because the really weird thing about it this year is that we've had juggernauts at the top of the NBA. There really has been like a class of the top 4 teams and then everybody in the playoffs and then everybody else. And those teams are Boston, Oklahoma City, Cleveland. And, I guess the other one would be in this situation that lost is Minnesota. But Minnesota's not really a top team in some ways. But those 3 had such good records this whole season, Celtics, Thunder, and Cavs. To see them all lose their game one of the second round is really crazy. It's really, really crazy. In some ways, it speaks to these teams maybe a little too full of themselves and thinking it'd be too easy, not taking things as seriously as the other team coming into their building and beating their ass. In some ways, they got lackadaisical. That's not Michael Jordan kind of stuff. No, it isn't Celtics. No, it isn't Cavs. Being down 0-2 to the Pacers? Nah, Donovan Mitchell. I'm sorry, man. That's not Michael Jordan stuff. He would never allow the Bulls to lose games like that. Yeah, that's the thing. You can't be lackadaisical. These other teams are hungry. And if you think you're too high and mighty from your record and your great year and stuff like that, well, you get a reality check. And you lose by 1 to Tyrese Halliburton and the Indiana Pacers. That's part of it right there. That's part of it right there. Monique is here. Super fan Mo. Good morning, Rapid Freak crew. The votes are something else. Yeah, she's talking about those NBA executive votes. Yeah, I think somebody could have tossed one little vote to Bobby somewhere in there, but no, alas, it didn't happen. Either way, they will in the next few years. Watch. They will. Mark my words. Bobby Webster is going to get an executive of the year in the next 5 years. I said in the next 3 years. Well, I'll say in the next 5 years, just to be careful. Good morning, Bo. Always happy to see the super fan in the chat live. Seymour saying, Trevor, keep them coming, my brother. You push greatness. Amazon, Temu at Trevor J. Yeah, I don't encourage people sending stuff on Amazon, but if you do, you do. I'm not participating with that company. I don't think I've actually ever ordered anything from Amazon my entire life, guys. I'm not lying. Seriously, I don't have an Amazon account, and I don't think I've ever ordered anything from Amazon in my entire life. Other people be ordering me things from Amazon sometimes, like Trevor and the former trivia commissioner, but not me. I don't think I've ever ordered a single thing from Amazon my entire life, guys. And you see who Amazon is. Amazon wanted to show the price increases from the tariffs on their website. They wanted to broadcast what was happening with Trump's tariff plan and how it was affecting the prices on Amazon. And Trump got mad. And he said, no, you don't, Jeff Bezos. And well, Jeff Bezos fell in line with the king because he's a bootlicker. And he's basically Trump's bitch. And he took those price increases down off the website. So everyday Americans won't see exactly how much Trump is costing them. So, yeah, you're a wimp and a coward, Jeff Bezos, whether it's a coward with Amazon and putting the tariff prices on your website or not letting the Washington Post be real journalists and reveal that they endorsed Kamala Harris for president. No, you're worried because, oh, Trump comes in charge and he's in charge. He's going to be punitive towards you and your company. You sorry sack of shit. That's what I'm saying. Oligarchy. And these guys are too scared of the dictator to take him on. So, Jeff Bezos, you're a coward and you're a piece of shit. How about that? There you go. Boom goes a dynamite. Seymour saying, if the Pacers get past Cleveland, I got them going the distance. This will be interesting. I think that Cleveland's better than the Celtics. So either way, if the Pacers get to the Eastern Conference Finals, their matchup's going to be a classic. Either way, Pacers, Knicks, oh my God, get out the Reggie Miller jerseys, and Spike Lee will be sitting at courtside. If it's Pacers versus Celtics, don't get me started on the rivalries there too. As far as Indiana versus Boston in the 90s and the 2000s and stuff like that. Yeah, well, not 2000s, more 90s because Boston fell off the map at a certain point. But yeah, the old Reggie Miller, Larry Bird kind of stuff. So either way, if the Pacers get past Cleveland, that Eastern Conference Final is going to be a creme de la creme, marquee matchup, a grudge match from the history of the NBA. And Knicks fans will love to play the Pacers in the Eastern Conference Finals. So would the Celtics, because it would be a fun matchup because it's got a lot of history. That's right. Thank you to Seymour from Trevor. Most saying, as I said, despite the team record, I thought the front office did a pretty good job with selecting the rookies and trading for Brandon Ingram. Hopefully we have an even more productive offseason. Yeah, I think that is very accurate. You're sounding just like what I was saying earlier. And that's the thing. Great minds think alike. I know Mo read that earlier. And yeah, it's totally on delay. I think that the credit and the recognition that Bobby deserves for some of the work he's done recently will come around later, as far as when people see more results from the rookies that we drafted last year and Brandon Ingram actually playing on the court for the Raptors. That'll make Bobby look better. And he'll probably get more votes for executive of the year next year at the end of the year. I could see that a year from now. We could see that. Trevor's saying coach of the year and his team back is against the wall. Yeah, they gave Kenny Atkinson the coach of the year a couple days ago, and his team is down 0-2 to the Pacers now. Rick Carlisle, let's go. Yeah, I mean, still, you can't take away, because once again, this award isn't for the postseason, Trevor. This is for the regular season, these awards. And it's true. The Cavs had a huge turnaround. Kenny Atkinson was a huge success, and he did deserve the coach of the year. So I'm not against him winning the coach of the year. He deserved it. The only other person I would have said maybe should have gotten it is Bickerstaff in Detroit. Those are the two best candidates for coach of the year this year. And well, they were 1 and 2 in the votes. And that's the way it worked there. Yeah. Seymour saying, yeah, added pressure sucks in the playoffs. Awards should be after the playoffs. I think maybe you're right. I don't know. I think that it's part of the showcase of things. Like the NBA gets a lot of spotlight because they have games every day. And in some ways, they want to have stuff to have in the pregame. They want to have stuff for Charles and Shaq and them on TNT to banter about and debate about who won this and that. I mean, I think it's fine doing it like this in the middle of the season. I don't think these are really distractions in the playoffs, whether you won awards or not. Maybe they can be a little boon to somebody with confidence. And it's like, oh, wow, I'm the most improved player of the year. I'm going to come out here and play really good or something like that. I don't know. I think Kenny Atkinson ignores that he won coach of the year. I don't think that had anything to do with him being down 0-2. I think that, it in some ways it could be helpful. Maybe some of these other guys that don't get the awards get more motivated to kick somebody's ass because of it. So I don't know. I don't think it's a big deal that it happens during the playoffs. I don't think it is. I mean, they could do it this way, Seymour, and this may work. They could have a little like ESPY's kind of award show after the whole season's over and have all the people come and get dressed up and get awards on the stage. I mean, that could be kind of a cool way to do it. I don't know. Either way, it is what it is, and it's not really broken. So I don't say we need to fix it. So Seymour saying, yo, Shams needs to get snuffed in the face or mushed. Yeah, mushed. He said Toronto is offering Scotty in the first for Giannis. Don't kill the messenger. Well, we know Shams is compromised. And that sad thing is that Woj is gone. Woj is gone back to St. Bonaventure. And he was reliable to a degree. Now, both those guys, very, very powerful in their job. And in some ways, they've not been totally responsible about it. And in some ways, I don't trust Shams at all. The fact that he has family members that work in certain front offices around the league, he can be very manipulative in favorable ways for certain people. It's corruption. It really is. It's information corruption. You could call information corruption stock trading with the congressmen and the rich people as Donald Trump manipulates the stock market on purpose in a certain way for a very, very 100%. This is what's going to happen effect, easy money, no risk, that kind of shit. Well, Shams in some ways has a powerful currency of information that he can utilize in powerful ways to help and hurt different people. I would say this once again: shams don't mean shit. Sham is a shams. Shams is a sham. As long as it's like not an official word, I don't take anything he says with any kind of weight. Just like Jake Fisher, just like other pundits and reporters for the NBA that make trade rumor all the time. Shams is somebody you can't look at reliably. Now, in some ways, we'll look, is this fallout damage from this? I don't think so. Maybe some of the Raptors nation fans or just Raptors people that are, I don't call them fans, may take this baton and run with it and say, oh, we're going to trade Scotty for Giannis because Shams said it, because Shams is bona fide. He's for real. He's the guy. He really knows what he's talking about. There may be a percentage of Raptors fans that take that and run with it, but I think like us, the Raptor Freak family, there's going to be a lot of fans that love Scotty, and they're going to say, no, we're not listening to your bullshit. And then if you think about it realistically, is Masai Ujiri going to do a DeMar DeRozan to Scotty right now at this point in our franchise with what we built up to? Or is he going to rip the heart out of our team just to go get the Greek Freak because this was on layaway for Giannis sweepstakes to Toronto? No, I don't see this. There's too much damage. There's too much ensconced. It's like this. If you're a person and you have a heart in your body and it works fine, it's healthy, it's pumping blood, it's got all kinds of stuff going all over the place. Your body, you feel really great, actually. You feel fantastic. The organ is working with all the organs in the body, and they're working really in synchronicity. Why would you rip your heart out and take yourself to the hospital and have heart surgery to take your heart out of your body just to put another heart in because it's Greek? You don't know if that's going to fit in all the ventricles and aortas to line up. You may have more health problems because you went ahead and took your heart out and put a different heart in. I would just say that anybody pining to switch Antetokounmpo out in for Scotty, you're an idiot. Because right now we are a perfectly healthy franchise and body with the heart of Scotty Barnes inside us, and that this surgery is not necessary. So I would say that. I know that Masai is smart enough to understand this. After trading DeMar DeRozan to San Antonio, he doesn't take these kind of things lightly. And in some ways, this is not even a starter. I don't think this is a real thing in any way, because the indications are is we're all in with Scott. And a lot of this is just bullshit. And shame on Shams is what I'll say to this. Shame on Shams. Don't kill the messenger? Well, let's just understand that if the messenger continually posts out bullshit, at a certain point, nobody listens to them. That's what happens. Nobody listens to them. Do the people listen to the Ohtani guy at this point? The guy who wrote the stories about Ohtani coming to Toronto? Do anybody think he's a credible journalist or a reliable source of information in the MLB at this point? No, probably not. And that's what I'm saying. So Shams wants to put out bullshit and just kind of put this kind of crap out. Well, at some point, people are going to stop believing the shit he writes because of that. That's right. Sean Marks got a vote for GM Executive of the Year. It's crazy. It's crazy work, isn't it? Yeah. Lex, please stop. That list is atrocious. Yeah. Rob Pelinka, Lawrence Frank. Yeah, it's atrocious. Yeah, you're funny, Seymour. I'm going to give you a dunk. He's like, stop. Red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag. So you're at 48, my guy. 48 dunk points for Seymour Pape. He's like, stop, just stop. Kaz, Trucker Kaz is here. Good morning, Raptor Freak crew. Good morning to you, Trucker Kaz. I hope you're doing great. I hope you're enjoying your WNBA team. You're kind of looking at it, seeing what's going on. Do you guys want to check out Kaz's WNBA team for him and see what Trevor J and G are thinking about Kaz's WNBA draft class? Let's see. I'll go ahead and see if I can get it captured a little bit better than last time and see if I can actually post the full thing without having to do it multiple times. Okay, no, it's not going to work exactly like that. Let's see how I can do it. No. Cut. Paste. Okay. Yeah, you can see the names that are on the list, Trevor, and give us your educated guess on Trucker Kaz's team. Maybe 3 players you like, 3 players you're kind of like, about. That would be kind of cool. Cut. I know there's like 3 comments, but that's what I got to do to get it the whole thing in there. It's kind of annoying. Cut that part. See if it comes in now. Yeah, that'll work. Okay, there we go. Oh, wait. Why do they have to list everybody's name 3 times on here? It's kind of stupid. There we go. All right, there it's all down there now. Let's see. Seymour saying salute to the trucker. Trucker 10-4, good buddy. Yeah, we're holding the line. Got to get this down. Eastbound and down, holding up and trucking. We're going to do what they say can't be done. We got a long way to go and a short time to get there. Oh, eastbound and watch old bandit run. It's a Smokey and the Bandit theme song. That's right. Jerry Reed. Let's go. Jerry Reed. If you know Jerry Reed, you know, man. You know. Names is here. My paisano is here saying hello from the job site. Hello, sir. Hello, plumber. Just stopping by to show my support. Of course, we have the top executive in the league. It's called gaslighting. I think it's just an afterthought. I think it's just that we're not relevant this year. I think it's just that we're in a no man's land of being out of the playoffs, but not the worst team in the league either. There's some people say we're kind of in the middle there. I think it's all that. I think it's all that. This will come. Bobby will get his due. Watch. He will. That's right. Be safe on the job site. And thank you, Nameless, for coming in and showing your support. We appreciate you, Paisano. Thank you. My guy, my buddy. Seymour saying, I work for a trucking company as well. Blood clot and Nameless, salute. There you go. Truckers unite, trucker company, truckers in the warehouse. That's all right. It's all the same thing. Got to unload the trucks. That's right. Fiercely saying, good morning, fam, and happy Wednesday. Just dropping by to say hi. Say Bobby Webster is badass as our roster is in very good position for next season. Oh, also good. Go Pacers. I like that. I like that. Yeah, go Pacers. Go Siakam. And yeah, I think our roster has been very well crafted. I think that the players on our team all fit for the most part, and that there's not a lot of same players kind of doing the same things. We've got different roles and different things going on, and we're kind of covering all the bases at this point. We have real centers and point guards finally once again on our roster, and it's good. It's nice to see a well thought out GM taking the plan and executing it and making a team that makes sense. Some people may look at the Raptors in the last few years and say they don't make sense. To me, they make sense right now. Maybe a couple years ago when we had a lot of wings and we had a lot of positionless stuff, some of what we were doing was not totally clear and did not totally work exactly right. But I feel like right now we've got a pretty regular kind of NBA roster with the right kind of role players and positions filled for the most part. Maybe we need a backup center still. Maybe we need a backup big. Sure. And Messiah said that is the wish list for this summer. So, but I feel like that's where you got to give a lot of credit is in some ways, the people he's bringing here are all working and they're not like coming in and wasting our damn time. That's another thing is a lot of GMs will make people come in and they'll try them out and they'll be a waste of time. How many players on our roster this year would you say were a waste of time being on our team and that we really didn't need here? Well, we traded Bruce Brown halfway through the season is what I would say there. But otherwise, everybody else contributed and seemed like they had a purpose and a future on the Raptors for the most part. That's what I would say right there. Seymour saying, hi, eye candy, stay sweet at heart. There you go. Yeah, MJ's going to be sweet at heart. And speaking of sweet, y'all, my straight goods on Canadian goods is an old favorite. It's Wunderbar. Y'all, I did some research on Wunderbar because I was wondering about if it's Canadian or not. And it is. It's Canadian. We make these in Canada. And we do sell them in the United States. You can buy them in the United States. Of course, Wunderbar is Cadbury. Cadbury is technically a English company from UK. But, the company that makes these is here in Ontario, in Toronto. And they make Coffee Crisp and a lot of these chocolate bars. And people say this is a Canadian chocolate bar. It is. It's technically very much a Canadian chocolate bar that's made by Mondelez, which is a big global snack company They have fingers in Canada, UK, US. They do have US products, and it's kind of a mishmash. But Mondelez with Cadbury produces these in Ontario. And you know what? This is the crazy thing. Y'all are going to learn something new here. Part owner of Wunderbar is Giannis Antetokounmpo. I'm not lying. Seriously, he bought into a company called Fun House, Candy Fun House. Candy Fun House is this company here in Ontario that has a fun house of candy in a warehouse. And Giannis like invested money in it, and he is a part owner of the company that sells Wunderbar. Just so y'all know, and the company is Canadian. So y'all, if you're gonna buy chocolate bars, don't buy Hershey. Don't buy the American straight up brands that'll go to Pennsylvania. All your money will go to Pennsylvania, Hershey, Pennsylvania, where the light posts are Hershey Kisses. No, buy Wunderbar or Coffee Crisp. The old classic Canadian chocolate bars are still Canadian made, and profits and everything goes to Canada here, even though the big conglomerate is kind of like all kinds of different companies together. It is a corporate chocolate bar. Let's just put it that way. But at least it has Canadian origins in that way. So there's something sweet for you right there. Wunderbar is my Canadian goods, straight goods, Canadian goods. And if you buy a Wunderbar indirectly, you're giving some money to Giannis. Seriously, he's a part owner of the company that has that. Yeah, you guys didn't know that. I bet you didn't know that Giannis was a part owner of Wunderbar. Let's see. All right, Seymour's saying those top teams just took better advantage of the weaker teams. The teams that are winning now are more designed for when it matters. Yeah, I think you're saying, okay, so the first round matchups were easier because they were like Orlando. And yeah, I get what you're saying there. And this next round, it's a little bit higher. I mean, the Pacers do have some business to get back. Pacers were in the Eastern Conference Finals last year, and they want to go to the finals this year. They want to build from where they were last year. And that getting anywhere but to the finals is not as good as last year, right? So they're on destiny. They're on a mission. And in some ways, they have the experience and the drive to get there. And, we'll just have to see. They're playing really, really well against Cleveland. I think this is a really good point Seymour's making. And I think it's pretty true. I think that in some ways, these teams had it easy in the first round. They're hitting a little bit harder teams now, and they can't coast like they did in the first round. Nah, Cleveland, this isn't Miami where you can drub somebody by 50 by the end of the game. This is the Pacers, and they can keep up, and they can score with you. That's right. G saying, I thought Mitchell was great. He hushed the crowd when they were chanting overrated to Halliburton. I have a new respect for his game and character. Having said that, glad the Pacers won. That's interesting. So Donovan Mitchell was being like telling the crowd to shut up about overrated. Interesting towards Tyrese. How overrated was it? He hit the dagger winner at the end of the game, Cleveland fans. In some ways, that's justice. Maybe Donovan Mitchell was telling the fans to shut up because he knew that you don't need to egg on Tyrese. Because if you egg on Tyrese, things like what happened. And the Cleveland fans got a little bit of basketball gods coming back around saying, yeah, you're going to chant overrated at him? We'll show you how overrated he is when he beats your team by 1 and you're down 0-2 in this series. Yeah, that's probably a part of it right there. It's like Mitchell's like, shut up, y'all. Shut up. Don't do this. Don't get him going, man. Seriously, man. Stargate saying that was a big shot by Halliburton. He did carry the ball in that last play, though. Stargate's a little bit of honesty in that moment, saying there was a travel to get there, though. Randolph's here. Good to see Randolph Phillips. Good morning, beloved Raptor Freaks, most informative gang. We must owe no one nothing but to love them, love others. There's nothing they can do about it. Yeah. I mean, this is what I'm saying. Once again, there's so much in this world is energy. And you can put out bad energy and make bad things happen. You can put out good energy and make good things happen. So be a force of good. Go out there and put good in the world, and it will come back to you. And your world will be more loving and positive and good because that's the world you live in. You want to live in a world where everybody hates each other and they're rude and they're jerks and they're negative. Well, put that in your mindset and you'll get that. It really is perception. You can have so much power in your power of perception. And, you can train your mind to stop being so negative and critical. You can live so much happier. One of the biggest things to what Randolph is saying here about his words of wisdom is you have to accept people as they are. If you can't accept somebody in your life for being who they are and just how they are, or it's just how they are, in some ways, you're the one who's at fault. It's not them. Even if their behavior is abhorrent or weird or bad. Sure, if they're doing something illegal, they should go to jail. But I'm saying that if you can't accept somebody for their character flaws and how they are, in some ways, that's on you. That's on you. You know, some ways you're going to have toxic family members in your life that you have to be around just because they're family. And in some ways, you know, you're going to have to understand they have things that they may trigger you or do things. And in some ways, you just got to understand that's who they are. And once you understand that and you have that power, you can control it way, way better. You can just say, well, you know, my uncle's just like this. And I love him either way, even if I don't really like this kind of behavior. I accept him for who he is. There you go. Boom goes that dynamite. Thank you guys for great words of wisdom today, Trevor and Randolph. Blessings to Phillips family and all the Rapid Freak families. Let's so see if Leo Routens has any words of wisdom on the Instagram stories today. First, we'll start with Jamal McGlure. And apparently him and Leo are going to be the celebrity coaches for Raptors for Research, the 2025 season. It's Raptors for Research. I guess it's some sort of charity or something that's going on. But yeah, those are pretty good coaches. Coach McGlure, Coach Routens. We'll have to see if we get to see any highlights of those games. Yeah, and Jamal's working with the police. He came out and did an expert safety tips talk to the kids at the school, at the Gulf Road Junior Public School. So Jamal McGlure is speaking at the schools. There you go. Jamal Shed is showing something about his friend who just got drafted to NFL, Jade. I think it's the mother. They couldn't understand even if they tried. I got to make up for all them nights my mama cried. Okay, I see what I'm saying. See, it's like that's the rhyme. It's like, okay, so Jade just got drafted by the Denver Broncos. Go Broncos, Kareem. And Jamal, being a friend of his, is reposting what he said about like now that he's made it, he's going to make up for all the nights that his mother cried at home. And man, that's interesting. That's powerful stuff. You made it, Jade. And well, I hope you have a great, healthy NFL career. Savannah Hamilton running around at TMU for the Bold speaking event. It was she said it was her favorite panel that she's ever hosted. TMU Boldest. The conversations were real. The room was full of energy and great. She's grateful. Fantastic stuff. Of course, it's always nice to have a homecoming. Go back to your alma mater and see old faces, see the old halls and the buildings of the school that you went to. And well, that sounds like a great event, Savannah Hamilton. Sounds like it was a really good time for you guys. Shamshay is showing off a player back in Africa named Daniel Akua. I don't know how to say that exactly. So yeah, Shamshay is going to have like a lot of friends coming from NBA Basketball Academy Africa. And he may know, you know, in some ways, it's like Shamshay knows everybody. He was, you know, I'm surprised how much Shamshay's pals with so many people that would be competing for his spot. Like he's not really like that. Like he's a very loving guy who's rooting for all kinds of different people. Is something that I've learned about Ulrich in his rookie year. Is that he likes to put other people on blast, and specifically, he likes putting African players on blast that are coming in. That's right. He's also put the score for I guess that's Barca playing soccer 4-3. They lost. Is that I don't know that. Is that I don't know these symbols. And he's writing in he's writing in French, so I don't know what he's saying exactly there. Jonathan Mubbo has finished his mini camp in San Francisco. He came back and was at the Leafs game a couple nights ago, but he spent like 5 days in San Francisco putting in that work at his alma mater. Off-season grind is here, and Jonathan Mubbo is putting it in. Toronto Tempo Live is being posted by Teresa Resch. And it's the tempo. It's the world of tempo in real life. Okay, I want to know what this is going on. It's very intriguing. It's merch, basketball, music, fan experiences, community speakers, and more. So this is going to try and build a whole culture and style and motif and community for Toronto Tempo ahead of them even playing. It's all about the merchandise. It's all about the basketball. It's all about the music. You know, with a name like Tempo, the Toronto Tempo could do a lot of really fun things with music in their arena. Seriously, I could see them, you know, in some ways. What if the Tempo did this? What if the Tempo made their music like really crazy fast, like rave club music? Seriously, like what if it's like they could do really weird things with binaural beats. Like maybe they could do like these weird beats that make you feel like you're floating. or something. They could do some really cool stuff with the name Tempo. And in some ways, they could build a lot of anticipation and excitement by building like a tempo beat up. Like that could be a signature thing you do, Teresa. I don't know if you're using me as a think tank, but you should. You could take like this whole thing where the beginning of the game, there could be like a slow beat that starts slow, kind of like the Raptor hitting the drum at Scotiabank Arena. And it's kind of starts slow, but it's kind of starts building, building, building. And then all of a sudden it's just like at the end. And that's just like the symbol that the game is about to start. Get to your seats and sit down because the tempo is building. That sounds badass, just me saying it. I mean, if they do this, y'all heard me say this first, that they build a pregame tempo that starts real slow. And maybe it starts like a half an hour before the game. And in some ways, you just kind of hear it coming. And as it increases, you know that you need to get to your seat because it's about to be tip off for the WNBA. Ooh, I'm giving myself a dunk on that one. I think this idea is amazing. Seriously, build the tempo before the game with the tempo beat. And it could be a house music. It could be any kind of genre of music. It's just, it needs to have a beat that increases in velocity and rate over time. And boom, all of a sudden you're like in it. You're in it. Lex doesn't give himself dunks very often, but he's giving himself a dunk for this one. I got 15 on the dunk points now. Yeah, I like that idea. Seriously. I was just like a light bulb just came on during the show just now thinking of this. Man, that's so good. Yeah. So cool. All right. And they're doing the Toronto Tempo live 1 year to before they start, May 24th and 25th at Stacked RSVP. Get in there and get your tickets, and you can be a part of an official Toronto Tempo event kicking off the start of the WNBA season this year, 1 year before we start as a team, Toronto Tempo. Love this stuff so much. I'm getting more and more excited about the Toronto Tempo as time goes on. And yeah, they're going to be at Global Jam because Global Jam has been announced once again at Mattamy Center, where they will do the Global Jam for another year in a row. It's back, baby. Global Jam will be back. Teresa's also on another podcast called In Case You Missed It with Kristen Williams. So you can check that out if you want to hear what they're saying. And she's really big on the Aja Wilson campaign right now with the jump rope and the girl with the Aja's name in her hair. Really, really cool stuff. Lots of stuff going on with the WNBA right now. The season's just about to kick off. We got our fantasy teams. Let's go. Let's go. Jacoby Walter is saying God is so good. And that's all. That's all he's saying right there. That's all he's got to say is God is so good. There you go. Boom goes the dynamite. Coach Andrew Jones feeling real good about his wife getting votes for super mom. Yeah, she's number one. She's going to be that super mom. She's going to be super mom. And one of his daughters is out in the street putting up shots. Heidi's coming for Ava is what she's saying. He's saying, all right, so he's got some young ballers in his team. That's right. There you go. Can't wait to see you at Toronto Tempo Live for the event at Stacked. Grady Dick has a weird post, and I had to investigate this because I was like, what the hell is this, Grady? Grady posted this picture of a beaver in a lake, and it says, how to become a Canadian beaver. And I clicked on it. And I went into it and I was like, and they're like saying, why did you click on this? Are you really trying to become a beaver? So goofy. It's so goofy and weird, but it totally makes sense that Grady would think it's hilarious and he would repost it because he found this thing, how to become a Canadian beaver. He clicked on it. You go look at it. It's actually an ad campaign to come visit Canada, I think. Honestly, that's what it is. AJ Lawson on his Instagram showing some highlights of him dunking. And of course, he is also putting on blast the Scarborough Shooting Stars. Very interesting. He's got Jaden Campbell, guard from Brampton, 6'5". He's in his second season. So he's showing love to a hometown guy from his hometown, Jaden Campbell, who's going to be playing for Scarborough Shooting Stars this year. So, yeah, Brampton love being shown there. And there he is up in the air dunking. OG Anunoby with highlights from him in game one against the Celtics. He's stealing the ball, coming down and throwing it down with the right hand. Pretty cool stuff. OG's highlights against Boston game one. Good stuff, man. 29 points. You go, OG. That's right. Beat the Celtics, man. Do it for the Raptors in the bubble, my guy. Do it for the Raptors in the bubble. That's what I'm saying right there. Let's see. And Kyle Lowry has got shirts on blast, Adidas golf shirts. So he's got his shirts for the summer. He's always going to be looking fresh, getting on the links and hitting the golf ball around. Since you ain't in the playoffs, Kyle Lowry. There's your Instagram stories right there. You said you ain't in the playoffs, Kyle. So funny, man. So funny. All right, see, Stargate saying, to be fair, the Cavs are missing 3 key players and possibly Donovan as well now. Wrong time to rack up the injuries. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, either way, injuries are not an excuse. You need to be deep. Cleveland, you've had a lot of different players all year. You've had injuries all year too. Let's not lie. There's been very few like amount of games where you had all 4 of your top 4 players at the same time. Let's just be truthful about this. This whole season, y'all did really well with missing one of your 4-3 at all times almost. If it wasn't Darius was out, Jared Allen was out, stuff like that. So no excuses, Stargate. No excuses. To be fair, who cares? It's the playoffs. The shit happens. None of this stuff. We ain't hearing this. If Indiana beats them because they had a healthier team and a better team, so be it. That's the way it's supposed to be. And I'm not going to blame injuries for this because honestly, the Cleveland Cavaliers kicked their ass for most of the game last night with the injuries, and it didn't matter. The Indiana came back and beat them. So we can't use this. I'm not going to go there with this. Not like this. Nope. Stargate saying Sham's sister works for the Hawks. Exactly. And all the Shams rumors about Siakam a couple of years ago before he went to Indiana, they make more sense now when you realize that. He really was putting out Siakam to the Atlanta Hawks over and over again on purpose to help his sister in Atlanta Hawks front office. So right there will tell you that Shams is compromised, and y'all don't need to be listening to his trade rumors. Now, if he's officially coming out and announcing a move that's official, like Luka got traded to the Lakers, then that's different. That's official news. But if he's speculating, fuck him. He's just as speculative as everybody else. And in some ways, I don't trust his motives for speculating. I'll trust him for the news broadcast that this is what has happened and it's coming. This is bona fide and verified because it's a Shams bomb. But if he's speculating, he's putting out trade speculation, throw it out the window like the garbage. I'm telling you right now, because he can't be trusted for that, especially also because he's been tied up with the betting companies too. Wasn't he a FanDuel employee like a year ago or something like that? He might still be on the payroll of the big gambling companies right now. So I would say this: why the hell would you trust anybody who's getting paid by the gambling companies to tell you what's going on in sports? The meshing of FanDuel and Bet Rivers and all this bullshit with the NBA, there's a lot of collusion and a lot of like problems with integrity of the sport that this invites when you bring in organized gambling around the sport. And I'm just saying that's another reason why you shouldn't listen to Shams, because he works for a gambling company. Blackhawks saying Cavs role players better step up. I don't care anyways. Put them to sleep, Pacers. There you go, Neil. That's right. There you go. Yeah, that's what they'll need to get through this, but I don't know if they'll get that. I mean, is Strus and Ty Jerome and Sam Merrill going to jump up and just get like 25 points and help them and carry them? Are they going to play exemplary defense? Maybe Ty Jerome, but those other two guys won't. No, they won't. They'll hit some threes, though. That's for sure. All right, that's Kaz's WNBA team. We'll have to see what you guys saying. So G's saying right now about Kaz's team, Teme may be injury prone. That's Fab and Geely. Yeah, Fag Ben. I want to say Fag and Geely because that's the NBA player, but it's Fag Benley. I had Teme on my team last year myself, and I found that with her, that she was on the injury list most of the season, honestly. So, yeah, I realized this too. She is injury prone myself because I had her on my team last year. And that's true. Yeah. Stargate saying Shams also was the one who started Kevin Durant to the Raptors for Scotty a year ago. That was actually Jake Fisher, and that was 2 years ago. Please ignore these nonsensical American media or trade rumors about the Raptors. Yeah, that one actually oriented from Jake Fisher, the whole Scotty for Kevin Durant. And that was a crazy time because Scott was checking in with us on Twitch. This was actually not very recent. This was actually the summer of Scotty on Twitch in 2022. So this is like 3 years ago when the Kevin Durant for Scotty stuff was happening. Because I remember, because we were with Scott and we were dealing with it. I saw him dealing with it like on camera on Twitch. At a certain point, so many people were putting the name Durant into the chat. He banned the words Kevin Durant from the chat. And he got so sick of people writing that shit in. Seriously. And in some ways, it hurt Scott because in some ways he's very happy on the Raptors and he didn't want to get just traded all out of the blue just for Kevin Durant. Well, the action that we dealt with when those trade rumors were going on is probably going to be exactly what we're going to do now. Masai and Bobby from the inside are probably talking to Scott and saying, you don't need to worry about this. We have no intention to try and trade you for Giannis Antetokounmpo. Trust me. There's also an article that came out recently that Giannis named the teams that he'd like to play for, and Toronto wasn't on the list, guys. So Raptors fans, y'all need to just shut up and stop worrying about Giannis. We got Scotty, and we got Ulrich. And in some ways, those guys will make up Giannis over time. And nonsensical American media trade rumors, yeah, I'll get behind that, Stargate. I'll get behind that. But this was 3 years ago when Kevin Durant was going on like that. He's saying, yeah, Stargate saying they don't like our franchise down there and want all our good American players back in the U.S., and we'll use any tactic to try and push that agenda. Yeah, I could say, that's, there is definitely people that are salivating in the idea of Scotty playing in the States. Certain people, I don't know, some of them may be in his circle. Some of them may be in his family. I know the Lakers Nation would love probably get him over there. There's all kinds of different places where Scotty would be attractive to add to a team. But man, we got to understand we really are. He's got roots here. He's got real roots with us and real trust. And there's nothing wrong with what's happening here. And he's got to understand that. In some ways, Scotty, you got to understand things aren't the same everywhere. You can ask Pascal. You can ask Fred. You can ask DeMar DeRozan. You can ask different players that have gone to different teams other than just here and realize what's here in Toronto is special. And it is something that you will not get anywhere else. And that's what I would say. And I think Scott gets this. Very early on Twitch, I told Scotty straight up myself. I said, Scotty, you could stay in Toronto for your whole entire year, or your whole entire career. We will make you very, very rich. You will give you the keys to the city. You can be the king of Canada. You can have all this and you will get this because Masai and Bobby will give this to you because you're that kind of player. Every single time your contract comes up, we will give you max money and you'll get paid the most you can absolutely get paid here in Toronto. And I think he read all that and he took it to heart, seriously, because I laid that in right after his rookie year on Twitch. I said, Scott, you this, and this. And he was looking at it. And he's like, you know what? And in some ways, he has embraced being a king of Canada and being more around Toronto and really put in roots in Toronto, as far as like being involved in condo building, just having a child here with a Canadian woman. These are big kind of roots to put in around here is what I'm saying. Is what is saying that. Yeah, Chris comes saying, come on, Lex, are you still making that a trade? Are you still making that trade? I'm not making any trade with Scott. I'm not making any trades this summer, Chriscom. I don't see any reason why the Raptors need to make a trade right now. I don't see any reason. I think it would be stupid. It would be foolish. And I wouldn't trust the teams we're making the trade with unless it's absolutely a fleecing and it really improves our team. And there's no kind of way like, oh, okay, this is going to be detrimental to our team. I would do a trade. But otherwise, I don't see why we need to do a trade this summer. We got Brandon Ingram. Brandon Ingram's our free agency, big acquisition. And that was the trade that we did this year. But it was in the trade deadline, not in the summer. Yeah. G Stan, rookies to look for in the WNBA. It's preseason, but they look real good. Deja Kelly from the Aces. New York also from the Aces. Nye. Oh, wait, not New York. Nye from the Aces. And a player to look out for from the Valkyries is Letitia. Okay, man, I don't even know who's available anymore. I feel like we've got such big rosters in our league that the waiver wire has like 20 players on it. Seriously, there's only like 20 players that are available. So there's really scraping the bottom of the barrel. Almost all those players are probably on rosters already. So it's going to be tough to kind of make a lot of moves and deal with stuff because we've really kind of used the whole entire league on our rosters. Like everybody who's going to be playing meaningful minutes is on one of our WNBA fantasy teams. So it's just how it is. So I'll keep those names in mind, G. Let's see what else you guys are saying this morning. Trevor's saying it's 2025. Let's stop pretending that we have haters. We have humans who hate themselves and hate their lives and then project that onto others. The hate is their own. Let's let it stay right there with them. This is a really mature adult way to look at this. And also, it's kind of like a great, useful tool don't have hate towards hate. Have love towards hate, and just feel like, you know what, this person's hurting, and that's probably the biggest problem right here. There's some sort of fundamental issue inside that is causing them to lash out and be an ugly person. I like this. I think Trevor has doubled down and brought us some more words of wisdom right here. Let's stop pretending that we have haters. It's not about you. It's not your own ego. It's telling you that, oh, it's these other people that have a problem with me. No, the problem is within them, and it's just manifesting, and you just happen to be in their path of destruction, is what it is. Stargate saying, nah, it wasn't a travel, Lex. He carried the ball. You can't put your hand under the ball while dribbling, which he did. But hey, this is indicative of the modern NBA game. This is something that's been criticized by Rick Barry, formerly of the Golden State Warriors, of recently. He's saying that all the NBA players are traveling way too often and they're not calling it. And it really irks him. Like, it really annoys him that the NBA players are just allowed to get away with the travel that they would never have allowed in other eras. And a lot of the old veterans see this and they're like, yeah, they let them do everything now. Yeah, Luka does it all the time, so why can't Halliburton? Either way, I don't care. The way that they called the game and it finished is that Indiana won by 1. If they want to come out with a 2-minute report and says that Halliburton carried the ball and they should have called that, well, so be it. It doesn't change the outcome. That's just how the NBA is. That's just how it is right there. Randolph saying, Lex, I love the name Tempo because the team will keep up the tempo, and the people's support will be them moving to the team's tempo in games. I just think that because of the word and what it means, there's so much you could do with the motif, like the feel, the aura, the brand of what the team is. And I think music needs to be absolutely essential to it. I think that in some ways they could really make the Toronto Tempo about a party if they do this right. They really, really need to, because in some ways that's a whole aspect of the name that is absolutely important, is music and liveliness in the arena. And I feel like they could do a lot of different kinds of things with it. And the other thing that's really interesting about the Tempo is, what the hell is their mascot going to be? Is it going to be a treble clef? Is it a treble clef? I don't know. It's like it could be really interesting to see what their mascot is. And what if they don't have a mascot? What if they just have a person, like they have a DJ and they're the mascot? I don't know. That seems weird. We don't want to be like the Celtics and have like some dude running around like he's a leprechaun. No, we want a real person. We want a person in a costume like Carlton or the Raptor. I think we want that. It's better for kids too. I think in some ways the weakness of the Toronto Tempo name is that it is a concept and not like an animal. And that in some ways, to bridge that gap to entice a younger audience, they're going to have to make a pretty cool, child-friendly, attractive mascot. Because in some ways, the name Tempo is really kind of sterile and dry and kind of a concept. It's not like a raptor, where the raptor can be a dinosaur and everybody can love the dinosaur. So in some ways, they need to have like a really good mascot that bridges the gaps to connect children to the team. It has to be a fun, attractive mascot that kids will like. I think that's important, because if they'd started with a team name that is not kid friendly, let's just put it that way. That makes sense. G saying the Beaver post made me laugh. It was so dumb. It was funny. Yeah, Grady thought it was funny too, obviously, because he reposted it. The Beaver, how to become a Canadian Beaver. Okay, thank you, Grady. That's funny. It is funny. Radar said, Alex, I also hope that front office is watching this playoffs and learning from teams that do not have more than 1 or 2 players who can carry when the others don't have it. Well, this has always been the case in the playoffs. I mean, since I've been watching it, that you need a deep team, and that, like, you need some talent. And if there's injury and one of your key players goes out, you do need next man up mentality. I feel like the Raptors and the way we built it is okay with this, Randolph, because in some ways, look what's happened this past year. We had very heavy injuries at the beginning of the year, but we had people like Davion step in and play for Emmanuel, and then Jamal later. Somebody got hurt in the starting lineup. Oshai was starting. Then if Oshai couldn't play, as Grady was coming in. And if Grady couldn't play, then Jacoby came in. So there's depth here. And I think that the kind of player you're talking about is being able to carry in clutch, pressurized situations when things like foul trouble or somebody has to leave the game for a temporary injury. Who's going to step up and do that kind of stuff? Well, the first line for the Raptors, you get Scotty, Brandon, RJ, Emmanuel. The second line, then you got Grady, Oshai, Jacoby, Jamal Shed. So you've got levels of guys that could step up and be the man on a certain night. Like Jacoby Walter, we saw this year hit a game winner. There's a possibility that he could be a very clutch kind of player that comes in and does stuff. Like maybe in some ways, Jacoby's doing stuff like Mathurin's doing for the Pacers right now in the next couple of years. Think about what Benedict does on his role. He's not a starter. He comes off the bench and he can put 20 up off the bench like he did last night. So it's that kind of stuff. Is in some ways you get a lot of talent on your team. You have a hierarchy. You may have the core main guys that are franchise guys like Scotty, Brandon, RJ, and Emmanuel. But then you got guys that are coming up that are younger that may be able to jump into those more and more responsibility as time goes on. And as they grow, boom, all of a sudden you're discovering Grady Dick is a clutch winner. He's going to hit a huge three and we're going to win a game because Grady Dick wanted to take over at the end of the game. So that's the way I look at it. In some ways, we're building this into it already, Randolph, with the personnel that we have and their potential to grow to. Yeah, Jacoby is going to be one of these guys. Trust me. I think that's a really good comparison. Jacoby Walter and his role could possibly be similar to Benedict Mathurin's this year coming up. That's what I think right there. Yes, gee, she is good. She's good. She's good. The Beaver post is good. Wayne saying, morning, Raptor Freaks. Teams don't get playoff experience without actually playing the playoffs. This is true. Pacers lost winnable games last year against the Knicks. They learned not to give up. That's pretty cool little like point by Wayne, because like last year they had some real heartaches and real disappointments. And while this year, learning from the disappointments, the failures of last year, they're trying to avoid that kind of stuff happening again. And this is a leg up on it. That's part of the staircase of the escalator going up to get to Larry O'Brien. You know, the Thunder, similar thing. They're going to have to go through some learning lessons like they did last year, and losing this game, the first one in this series. These are learning lessons for a young core in the playoffs. Even if they had the best regular season record and they've been killing everybody during the season, they're still young and inexperienced to a certain level in the playoffs. And well, we'll see where they hit their head on this postseason. Will they go all the way and be able to win it with that amount? Yeah, maybe. We'll see. The Raptors, it's weird because, you know, when on our championship run, we had players that had gone there and done that already. When Kawhi had already won a championship with the Spurs. And we also got to remember the work that Kyle Lowry had been doing for years on the team. Serge Ibaka, Jonas Valanciunas, not on the team anymore. But even Marc Gasol bringing his work from Grizzlies and their struggles in the playoffs. There's a lot of playoff learning from other places that were in our guys on 2019 that helped them get all the way to the championship in one shot. First time there, first time won right away. But a lot of the work was put in with Kawhi on San Antonio and Danny Green and Kyle on Toronto and Mark on Memphis and stuff like that. You know, does that make sense? That makes sense to me. That's right. Trevor saying, remember last season, Indiana had lots of injury when they faced the Celtics in the Eastern Finals. So they have lots of experience. Yeah, hopefully maybe they get a rematch with them and they get some revenge this year. That's right. Stargate saying Scotty ain't going nowhere. Yeah, I really think that part of like making the very bold public statements that's saying that Scotty's a part of our future and saying this over and over again, it really ensconces and solidifies it. And I think that once again, if there's no issues, you know, Scotty's not a disgruntled player. He's not unhappy here in any kind of way. I don't understand this crap. And in some ways, Stargate's exactly right. U.S. people will try and tear good things apart for up here just by speculating like Shams' rumor. And yeah, I totally agree with him. I don't think he's going anywhere. I mean, I'm watching this team very closely, and things are very, very healthy on this team. If things were a little toxic, maybe it was like 20 years ago with Vince Carter kind of stuff, maybe we should be worried about this, Raptors fans. But I'm not in the least. I'm 100% confident in Masai and Bobby that they won't drop the ball and do something stupid like Nico Harrison. That's what I say right there. Yeah, Kareem's here. Good to see Kareem Thomas, the butt dialer. Cavs don't understand that their secret weapon is Tristan Kardashian. I love, that's so feminist of you to give him the last name. I'm going to give you a dunk because you made me laugh. And yeah, that's funny. That's funny. I want everybody to call him Tristan Kardashian from now on, please. 81 points on the dunk chart for Kareem. I do. I seriously want that. I feel like it would piss him the hell off as a misogynist and a piece of crap. It'd be so funny if people started calling Tristan Kardashian to his face all over the place. That would be so hilarious to me. It'd be so hilarious. Chris comes saying, I asked about the OG trade, not trading Scotty. Oh, well, did you write it into the comment? Because if you didn't write the specific names, I'm going to go off whatever we're talking about. What are you talking about with the OG trade? Chris, I will go back up and see what you were asking and try and put this in the right context. But remember, proper names are important in every single statement. We jump from subject to subject so quickly, and we're really not really talking about it. Come on, Lex, are you still making that trade? Yeah, see, that's all you wrote, Crisco. How the hell am I supposed to? I wasn't even thinking about the OG trade at all. Of course I'm making that trade. Are you only saying that because OG's doing stuff on New York right now? I don't give a shit about that. This is the thing. Players go to different places and they excel and do stuff. Of course I'm making that trade still. OG couldn't be here any longer. And we got 2 starters for him. So, yeah, I don't do buyer's remorse bullshit. I'm sorry. I really don't. I have no remorse over the OG trade. It's fantastic. It brought RJ home. That alone, in some ways, I would make the argument you didn't even need to put Emmanuel in that trade. If you had made it RJ for OG straight up, I would have done that trade. Yeah. Get rid of Precious and all the other stuff. I would have done that trade just for RJ. There you go. I'm saying this because in some ways, RJ is like that to me because it's a hometown hero. The dude's a badass and he's going to get better and better. So, okay, that's what you were asking me about. Why are you asking me about the OG trade? That's old news. There's no reason to revisit this. And I don't go back on this trade. No. Why you expect me to say, oh, no, we lost this trade now? No. To be determined still, Criscom. To be determined. And it's not determined until Emmanuel Quickly or RJ Barrett aren't on this team any longer. And they are going to be on this team for the years to come, and they're going to get better and better. And we're going to go up in the playoffs. And then you can come ask me, Criscom, or I'll ask you, Criscom, do we still do this trade for OG in 2 years when we're at the top of the playoffs and we're kicking ass with those guys on our team? That's when you need to ask me then. I'm going to say it every time. I do this trade. In fact, I do RJ straight up for OG. Yeah, a lot of people would say, you're crazy, Lex, for saying that. Well, that's how special it is to have a kid from Mississauga playing for his hometown team and fulfilling a dream. We like fulfilling dreams up here and having hometown heroes because they play all out. It's obvious. We've seen how RJ Barrett's played for the Toronto Raptors since he came here. It's special. It's a little bit more extra. And that's what I say right there. Yeah, Criscom, that's not the answer you thought you'd get, was it? No, I say I'd go ahead and do it just straight up for him, man. But once again, you need to put in those proper nouns because I know who you're talking about. I don't know who you're talking about. You got to put those proper nouns in. Trevor's saying Toronto Temple mascot's going to be the butt dial. That's not kid-friendly, Trevor. That's not going to be kid-friendly. The butt dial? How does that work? Is it a cell phone? And like you like there's a big butt that stands next to it? I don't get this, man. You got to flesh out your mascot idea. Your elevator pitch is weird, man. You want the mascot to be a butt dial? How does that work, Trevor? How does that work? That's weird, man. That's weird. Wayne's saying playoff basketball has really nothing to do with the regular season. Games are refereed differently, and games intensity is enhanced. Nuggets as a bench deficit, but core players are battle tested. I mean, all right. This is the way it works, I guess. We're talking about having depth and next man up mentality, but not necessarily that you're all playing. That, you know, like the Knicks, they'll play like a 7-man rotation. But if one of those guys get hurt, well, Precious may have to jump into that 7-man rotation and play to a certain level to help them. So that's where depth can be helpful. The playoffs, it's a short rotation, and you really want to have a premium top 7 or 8 players. But if any of those guys get hurt, that's where your depth comes in handy. You're going to need somebody to step in and play to a certain level to keep that level up. And that's why depth will still matter, even if they're short rotating. Is that you got hurt, you got guys who get suspended, you get thrown out of the game. You know, there's all kinds of different things can happen. Somebody's gone all of a sudden. So you're going to need next man up. And if you're 10 deep, it's easier to pick who you're going to bring in for the special reason why you need them and stuff like that. Does that make sense? But I totally agree with you. Playoffs are totally different than the regular season, and teams need to learn that. Young teams need to learn that when they get there. Speaking of the refs, though, let's go look at them for tonight's games real quick. I got the ref report for you. Really weird crew for Oklahoma City. Let's just put it that way. New York at Boston. Tonight, the crew chief will be James Capers Jr. James Capers heavily favors the Boston Celtics. Kevin Scott is the referee out of Tennessee. I believe he's Tennessee, somewhere around there. Kevin Scott is favoring the Celtics also. Mark Lindsay, the family guy, is the third ref in game 2 of Knicks and Celtics, and he favors the Celtics very heavily. In fact, the Celtics are like one of his top 5 teams, and the Knicks are one of the top bottom 5 teams out of all the 30 teams in the league. So Mark Lindsay is a huge, huge favor for the Boston Celtics to even this. I think the NBA wants the Celtics to even this series tonight. Let's just put it that way. Because they have 3 refs that are heavily favoring the Boston Celtics with their records in the past and not the Knicks, just so y'all know. Ray Acosta is the alternate. In the replay center will be Drake Lover, Mitchell Irvin, watching from Secaucus. Now, here's the crazy crew that is doing the game 2 of Denver at Oklahoma City. Scott Foster is off of the injury list and will referee tonight, guys. Scott is not refereed in like 3 months. Apparently, he's healed up. He's back off the injury list. He will be the crew chief tonight in Oklahoma City. He favors the Nuggets, y'all. Just so y'all know, he favors the Nuggets. And I'm wondering if they're trying to mess up SGA and the Nuggets or something. But Scott Foster being there is not a good thing. Second ref is James Williams. He is the referee. He favors the Thunder. Now, he has a better record with the Oklahoma City Thunder than the Denver Nuggets. The third ref is Ed Malloy, and Ed Malloy favors the Nuggets also. So Scott Foster and Ed Malloy are both reffing together tonight in Oklahoma City, and they both favor the Nuggets. This is scary, man. I'm scared for SGA. I think the Nuggets really need to make a statement tonight and just be so overwhelmingly good that corrupt criminal Scott Foster can't do weird shit to this game. And yeah, I'm like, you're giving them Scott Foster and Ed Malloy. Oh my gosh, these are the 2 worst refs in the league as far as I'm concerned, and the worst manipulators of games. Those dudes could do a masterclass on how to control a game completely. Those 2 in particular. So yeah, there's your ref report. I can't believe Scott Foster's back. He's not supposed to be reffing right now. In fact, they said he was going to be done for the season, but he's coming out to ref tonight, just so y'all know. Crazy. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. All right, let's keep going. Blackhawks saying we need a mascot that gives sweet chin music at the end of the game. Why? Why that move of any of them? That's a weird one, Neil. You want the mascot to come out and do – who does he kick, though? Who does the mascot kick? Like, why is the mascot kicking someone? And who is it that they're kicking? Are they kicking the ref? Are they kicking opposing players? Did they kick somebody on our own team? I have so many questions here. Why do we have to do sweet chin music? Why don't we do something with Bret Hart and not the horrible Shawn Michaels who took the Canadian flag and stuck it up his nose like it was a Kleenex? Why would you want to celebrate Shawn Michaels? I'm always suspicious of people who are Shawn people over Bret, especially if they're Canadian. I get it. Chris Boucher likes Shawn Michaels more than Bret Hart. And I don't know. I'm like, Chris, come on, man. You're from Montreal. You should understand this very intimately, why you should like Bret Hart over Shawn Michaels. Come on, man. You're from Montreal, of all places. Anyway, just a little wrestling tangent there. Kareem saying, I can't be a mascot. I just go around dry humping everyone. So you're trying to actually saying that you want Kareem to go down there and be the mascot, like dress up and be it. Can he do flips? I don't know. Kareem, could you do like backflips? Can you do like ninja little across the floor kind of stuff? If you could do that, maybe. I don't know. Didn't he have a injury that didn't allow him to play football anymore? I don't know if he can do this stuff, guys. I did it once in high school and got fired the next day, but everyone had a laugh. I was an all alligator. So wait, you have mascot experience? So in high school, you were the mascot for one day, and then you got fired. Oh, don't put that on your resume. Teresa Resch. Hi, my name's Kareem Thomas. I'd like to be the new mascot of the Toronto Temple. I have experience. Yeah, I did mascotting in high school. Yeah, I'd be great. Yeah, I was an alligator. I was an alligator in high school. Yeah. No, don't look at the record. Yeah, no, it's fine. No, that was a misunderstanding. Don't worry about it. I'll be great for Toronto Temple. I could see it. I could see Kareem smooth talking his way into becoming the mascot for the Toronto Temple franchise. That'd be awesome. You were an alligator? That's cool, man. You were Alligator. Is that the name of the mascot's name was Allie, and it was a gator? That's cool, man. Kareem saying, one thing Chev always said is that Davion Mitchell is a showman and his team will never win. He's been preaching this since the Cavs traded for him. You're talking about Davion Mitchell or Donovan Mitchell. Man, don't do this to them. Jack Armstrong does this to them during the game, calling Davion Mitchell Donovan Mitchell in the middle of the year. I was like, man, this is cringe. Come on, don't make yourself sound old, Jack Armstrong, by calling Davion Mitchell Donovan Mitchell. Now Kareem's done the opposite here by calling Donovan Mitchell Davion Mitchell. Come on, man, don't get them mixed up. Now, I will agree with this. I feel like Donovan Mitchell is an overhyped scorer who's a very talented offensive player, but he's not a winning player, is what I'm going to say right here. I'm going to say this right here. Now, he could win on Cleveland mainly because he's got the twin tower centers that make up defensive things and do some of the dirty work to allow them to be doing good things and success. So Mobley and Allen are more important to the success of the Cavs in some ways. You could take any great offensive player and plug them in instead of Donovan Mitchell, and it won't matter. But the key to them is the really good defensive stuff of Allen and Mobley. So that may help them overcome what Chev's saying here, is that the team concept is got enough defensive stuff and dirty work and different little things you got to do to win a playoffs. And Donovan's just the go-to scorer guy who carries in the midst of it. So I don't know. I'm going to disagree with Chev and say that Mitchell can win a championship with the team that's near him right now, is what I'll say. Yeah, G's laughing at Kareem. That's funny. Stargate saying the Raptors technically have their core in place. Yeah, I totally believe this. And that's why I'm like, Raptors fans, just chill. We don't need to do anything right now. We need to discover Ingram. It's the bench they will be working on this offseason. They already started with Oshai, Jacoby, Grady, Jamal. Hopefully Ulrich can make a jump to Jonathan Mobo, Jamison Battle. And Garrett Temple may be back. I mean, that they're saying that Garrett's heard that Raptors do want him back and he wants to be back. So what's wrong? And we'll see. Veteran minimum. Chris Boucher is another big question mark we got to figure out. And this whole thing also. For sure. Kaloy saying, morning, Lex and Raptor Freak family. What is good is that we can trust our front office to make the right decisions. Yes. I mean, if I was a Bucks fan, I would not trust my front office. If I was a Lakers fan, I would not trust my front office. There's a couple of teams that have done really weird shit with their decisions. Mavericks. Oh, yeah. Very, very bad front office. In some ways, it's the track record. It's like, what has the front office done in the last few moves? And like, well, can we trust them? And you can really trust Bobby and Masai. I felt this way the whole entire time they've been in charge. Other fans have gone back and forth on whether they trust them. But in some ways, it's like, I've learned the lesson every single time is just trust them because they do kick ass and do good jobs. And the great thing is that not only do the fans trust them for the most part, the players really do. And they publicly put it out there. Scotty says, I trust Bobby and Masai no matter what with the draft. He said it on his Twitch again. He said, I trust them. I trust them. A lot of the other players are saying it too on the Raptors. They say, I trust our front office. I don't care what happens. I know that Masai and Bobby are really good at their job. And that's a really good strength to have. In some ways, if you don't trust your front office and you're like, man, these guys are shaky. Like, what the hell are they doing? You can get like a fan nation like what happened with Dallas. And it's really toxic. It's not helpful because it's confusing. And in some ways, you don't really feel like the person who's guiding the ship, the captain of the ship, is doing a good job, and you fight against them. And you kind of come out and say, well, fire Nico. Fire Nico now. We don't trust him. We hate him. He traded Luka. That's really dysfunctional. In some ways, you want your fan nation to believe in your front office so that you think that, like, yeah, they're working towards something that's positive and making this team better. But if you have these doubts about that, the fans can be so toxic, especially online and social media places, that it causes distractions and it can actually hurt the team. And Dallas Mavericks are going to go through that for a while now. I don't know how you get trust back in that situation ever. It's going to mean Nico Harrison has to leave before the Dallas fans will ever trust their front office again right now. That trust has been completely shattered. Yeah, it's very interesting, the whole idea of trust in your front office. The Raptors have a very good situation right now. That's right. G saying the Fever just have a character mascot in costume. A character mascot? What's the character? What is it? What is the Fever? Is it like a feverish person? Are they sick? Oh, I've got the fever. I've got the fever. Wayne said, thanks, Trevor. I remember the Pacers playing the Knicks, but it may have been the Celtics. Anyway, games were lost in the last 40 seconds twice last year by the Pacers. Raptors' depth is advantageous. Yeah, yeah. So there's like, they want to be on the right side of it. And well, Tyrese made sure they were last night. That's it right there. Did we see John Halliburton get on the court? No. No, we did not. We did not see John Halliburton run out on the court and do anything stupid because he's not allowed at the game right now. And that's probably for the best. Seymour saying, Kareem, laugh out loud. Dry humping mascot. Dry humping? No, man, we don't want any kind of weird, like R. Kelly kind of mascot. Come on, guys. Come on, guys. We want this family friendly. And also remember this. This is the WNBA, the women's NBA. And in some ways, y'all need to be, thinking about it in a sensitive way to gender and gender equality. Let's just put it that way. So no dry humping, no Laker girls, none of this kind of shit. Maybe they'll have like Chippendales instead. It was like, this is the WNBA. And the Lakers and Dr. Jerry Buss were innovative with their Laker girls. Well, we're doing something different here in Tempo. Woo! Woo! Thunder from down under. Yeah! I don't know. It's equality, man. It's equality. Sign Kareem and I up. We're coming down there for that. We're not mascots. We're the new Thunder. We're the new tempo dancers. We got the tempo, baby. Yeah, no. All right. These are bad ideas. Bad ideas. Okay, maybe they are dry humping on mascots. That's right. That's right. Okay, let's see. Hitting up the moms, my guy. Okay. Anyway, funny joke. I think it's funny too. Maybe a little not right, but anyway, either way. Neil says, since we're doing tempo as a team name, our mascot has to be controversial. That calls for a HBK move. Kick the opposing team's mascot. Okay, so you want them to do the sweet chin music to the other team's mascot. Well, first of all, I'm going to say this. That doesn't work because most of the time, mascots don't travel with the team. That's right. So, like, our tempo mascot will be here, and the other WNBA team's mascot won't be coming to our arena. So, who are they going to kick? Who are they going to kick then? I'm not down with this. This is violence. So, we don't need WWE in this bullshit. It needs to be controversial. No, didn't you hear what I said? We need this Toronto Tempo mascot to be kid-friendly and enticing to get the kids involved. That's what we need it for. The mascot's not for adults. It's not for us, they're wrestling fans, to get our wrestling kicks with backyard wrestling, Neil. No, the mascot is to get the kids attracted to the team. And like I said earlier, Toronto Tempo is not the most kid-friendly, youth-oriented name. And it's really important and crucial that they make this mascot a very much like a Muppet or like a Sesame Street character, something like that. Seriously, no controversy, not for young adults that like to watch Monday Night Raw. No, I'm sorry. That is not the target audience for the Toronto Tempo mascot. All right, let's see. Wayne saying OKC's coach, from my observation, is one-dimensional, and OKC is kind of predictable. So is Nuggets, very predictable, but playoff toughness beats depth. Jokic, to my chagrin, is much more vocal now. He's being a powerful leader. In some ways, he's like, we fired a coach and we've got to do it now. If we don't succeed now, it's going to show that it wasn't Michael Malone. It was us, and that our team's really bad. In some ways, that's part of what's motivating Nikola right now, is they fixed the problem at the end of the season and they're supposed to do well now. And well, he has to be more of a leader at this point in some ways. That's very interesting. You also think that the playoff toughness can beat a longer roster of depth. I may not disagree with you about Mark Dagnall and your comments about the Thunder, but we'll see. I mean, that's where the adjustments in that game of the playoffs happen. Are they going to be able to figure out why they lost the Nuggets in the first game tonight and change the outcome for tonight? Well, hopefully Scott Foster and Ed Malloy aren't going to get in the way. That's what I would say to that. Kareem saying our mascot for the Tempo should be Flash, like the old show. Like Flash, the superhero? You mean like Flash, like the red guy with the Thunderbolts that runs really fast? Or are you talking about Flash Gordon? Or who are you talking about? Flash? Who's Flash? Flash? I don't know. There's like a dog named Flash. It was on Dukes of Hazzard. and it was Roscoe P. Coltrane's dog. Oh, goo, goo, goo. We're going to get them, Flash. Goo, 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 goo. Get them Duke boys before they get across the county line with that moonshine. Goo, 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 goo. Roscoe P. Coltrane, what are you doing in there? That's Roscoe P. Coltrane. Oh, boss hog. Goo, 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 goo. Get back to work, Roscoe. Yeah, do a little Dukes of Hazzard cosplay there real quick. I don't know. Flash? You mean the Basset Hound from Dukes of Hazzard? Sitting in the car with the Roscoe? Showing my age. Stargate saying Bucks, Lakers, Suns, front office are shit show. Yes, those are three of the top ones right there. Boom goes the dynamite. That's right. Seymour's saying, yeah. And he's saying, laughing at the Thunder from Down Under, laughing about that. Yeah, I don't know. This sounds like this could be part of it. Not talking about the mascot. The mascot's kid friendly, G rated, but maybe the dance crowd is a little bit PG-13. Yeah, the dance squad. Yeah, all-male dance squad for Toronto Tempo. Ooh. Ooh. Yeah, a little bit of screaming and yelling. Maybe they get a more demographic. I don't know. They get some thirsty ladies down there. That's right. Throwing their panties. I don't know. That's crazy. Scott, I mean, what are you doing, Lex? Stop talking this crazy shit, bro. This is WNBA. This is serious. Come on now. I know it is serious. I'm not trying to make light of this. Seriously. I'm all about it. I'm just brainstorming here. Teresa Resch will be like, yeah, you're an idiot. Yeah, you're an idiot. We're not going to do that. I know I'm an idiot. It's part of the fun. Okay. Seymour saying, remember, roller rink, it was a tough sport that should be our mascot, Fast and Tough. You mean like roller derby? You're talking about man, that would be kind of cool, actually. Like, I don't know if you do this. You can't do it, though, because the halftime needs to be short. But I was going to say, what if you have a roller derby game in the halftime at Toronto Tempo? That'd be crazy. The jammers, get that jamming out there. What if there's a two-sport star who's like WNBA, but also a roller derby player, and they're doing both on double duty on that day? They become like a famous athlete like Bo Jackson because they're like two sports. Is that, yeah, I played the WNBA game, and then afterwards I did roller derby, and I jammed like 500 points. Yeah, good job, jammer. I don't know. I don't think you put it in the halftime, though. You want to mash up the roller derby with the Toronto Tempo? This is crazy talk. In some ways, they need to just make a roller derby league a big thing on its side. I think there's roller derby all over the place still. Still is, yeah. Roller rink? No, it's roller derby. That's right. And Kareem's got it. Roller derby. That shit was gangster. I used to like watching on TV. I mean, it was actually pretty entertaining. There was a roller derby show that was on for a while, but it was really scripted and it was kind of fake. You could tell they were kind of like not really doing it right. It wasn't totally like kayfabe was broken. Let's just put it that way. You could tell they were not. It was all show and it was kind of made up. Yeah, you could tell. Yes, roller derby. Yes. Trevor's saying last season's playoff, Indiana put the New York Knicks out and went head-to-head with the Celtics. And Tyrese was injured. He did not play in that series. There you go. That's how I remember it, too. All right, let me go look around on my tabs a little bit. I see that you were calling for the classic card. Let me just get some of this other stuff out of the way first. Let's go react to Raptors Reddit real quick. The Raptors Reddit is very happy and proud of Pascal. Let's go Pacers. They're putting up magnificent fight against the heavily favored Cavs. Let's go, Siakam. And they're also saying, love to see OG ballin' out. 29 points in the win over Boston. Yeah, once again, I'll say this to Criscombe. The success of our players after us does not make me regret anything that we've done. They're good players. They're going to go play other places. This is more of a testament to the acumen of our drafts and how we pick really good players that are really quality and good players. And once again, I'll stand on this. I'd trade OG straight up for RJ and just do that deal, and I'd be happy with it. OJ didn't want to be on the Raptors anymore. And it's not like keeping him and putting him on the Raptors or keeping him longer than he wanted to be here would have been helpful or good for our team. It was healthy to take the last crop out of the garden and clear it for the new plants. And that's what this is. In some ways, OG, Pascal, and Fred were champions. They went through the downtime after the championship, and they were jaded to get back to the top with us. And it would be harder because they saw the promised land and they were around it. And they saw the difference in the futility and the toughness of Tampa and other things that happened after that. In some ways, they were ruined from ever coming up again with the Raptors in our franchise. You've got to understand this. In fact, Siakam and Fred have both verbally expressed this in the last 2 years since they left the Raptors. I saw an interview this season with Fred saying that, yeah, things were just ruined in Toronto. We couldn't come back together and build it back up because it just wasn't happening. And in some ways, it was very frustrating. A change of scenery was needed. So I'm not second guessing the losses of Pascal, Fred, and OG to other teams and trades. It was exactly how it was supposed to happen. And I don't second guess our path as a franchise. And that's why I would say to Criscom, no, I don't regret it. I don't regret anything about it. OG's a good player, and he should look good playing out there. I'd be more upset if OG didn't look good, and I'd be like, holy crap, OG's making us look bad. He's making Masai look bad for when he drafted him a long time ago out of Indiana. So that's the way I would say it right there. Boom goes the dynamite. There you go. Let's see. Stargate saying roller derby was nasty business, especially the girls. They were more violent than the guys. Well, in some ways, roller derby really became more of a female sport. Not gonna lie. Do you see many men playing roller derby anymore? In fact, roller derby locally is often just kind of organized, and it's usually like a club of women that just love being tough and kind of breaking the stereotype of delicate women and all this kind of stuff. I know the Tallahassee roller derby girls used to hang out at Bird's Aphrodisiac Oyster Shack when I worked at the Oyster Shack as an oyster shucker down in Florida for a couple of years in around 2010. And you'd come in there and they were tough girls that drank a lot and ate a lot. And they were just tough ladies. And they weren't all they were from all sexual orientations. So it's not just say, oh, they were all lesbians. No, they weren't. They were women. They were tough heterosexual women that were just as big and burly and tough as the gay ones. So it's it's a cool sport. And in some ways, like I said, it's more female oriented at this point. You don't hear about a lot of men's roller derby teams at this point in some ways. And I think that, yeah, in some ways it's part of being able to express yourself as a female, that you're tough and you're physically able to hold yourself is part of it right there. Yeah. Kareem saying superhero Flash. You want the superhero Flash from DC Comics to be the mascot for the Toronto Tempo. This does not make any sense. Why? First of all, he doesn't have the colors of the team. Second of all, he's a man. He's a male superhero. We want to make a mascot that may be appealing to young women, young girls a little bit more. You got to know your target audience. Once again, all right, so we've got two suggestions. Somebody wants super kicks like Shawn Michaels, and somebody wants a DC comic book named Barry Allen, The Flash. No, y'all are missing the target audience. We're supposed to be targeting things towards 6, 7, 8-year-old little girls. So you'd be better off telling me you want Rainbow Bright than what you're telling me right here, guys. Come on now. Trevor's saying Toronto Tempo mascot should be Captain Canada. Captain Canada is a real character in Marvel, guys. There is a Captain Canada that is an Alpha Flight. Seriously, there's a real superhero. You don't know him as well. But yeah, Alpha Flight, go check that out. You can find Captain Canada there. Let's see. Seymour saying that player injury prone would be high. Roller derby. Oh, yeah. If that player's doing roller derby and WNBA, yeah, that's not a good combination. It's not a good combination. I thought it was just a funny thing to say. Kareem saying in the NBA, there's female thirst traps. In the WNBA, there should be male thirst traps. I want to sign up to be a male thirst trap for the WNBA. So it's like you want to be the equivalent of the Instagram models that come down to the games at the NBA games. Like you're going to be like a hot gigolo that comes and sits at the court side at Tempo games. What is this? What are we doing here today, guys? What are we doing here today? I'm talking about Thunder Down Under. You're talking about Sweet Chin Music. You're talking about Flash. Now you want to be a male gigolo at WNBA games. How does your wife feel about this, Kareem Thomas? And how many visits to Denny's are you going to have to make because of this? Seriously. I hope your mom doesn't watch the Raptor Freak channel. I mean, I hope your wife doesn't watch the Raptor Freak channel. Seriously, Kareem. If she's watching me and she's just heard you saying, you want to be a thirst trap at WNBA games? What are you doing, Kareem? Oh my gosh, man. You don't want to do this, man. Hot gigolo down at the court side? That's right. That's what Carlo Kaloy said. Hot gigolos at courtside seats. That's right. Comedy gold. I mean, this is part of the fun of the Raptor Freak channel. I watch my channel back usually when I watch the shows afterwards. And I know I'm funny if I make myself laugh like 2 hours after I'd said it on the show when I rewatch the show. And the other day I was rolling on the floor when I was talking about Grady and his girlfriend on the show the other day. Like when I was saying, y'all leave Grady alone. Stop sending him DMs. And that whole part was hilarious to me for some reason. And watching how I handled it. And I feel like there's some moments on this one that I might watch back later. And I'm like, damn, Lex, you were funny, man. Why were you saying that about Thunder Down Under? Why did you bring up roller derby like that? Well, it's a two-way street. It's the chat is bringing these ideas, and I'm just riffing off them. And y'all are part of the comedy writers on this channel too, obviously. But yeah, I think I might watch this stream later while I'm cleaning the house, and I'll be like, "Damn, Lex, you were funny today," because I'll start laughing because of something I said. It's crazy, man. All right, let's see. So stupid. Kareem, you're funny, man. I'm gonna give you a dunk for this gigolo, like sitting at courtside bullshit you just brought up right now. This is silly, man. 84 now, man. You clean it up today a little bit here. Clean it up. Seymour saying, Lex, which active WNBA player do you see pulling this off? Well, I watched the stunted growth came out recently of Cambridge, Lynn Cambridge, or whatever. The player who's not in the league anymore, who was just kind of a diva and was a real problem and just kind of an asshole. And like she even said racist things about players from Nigeria. She said some really crazy shit. She's a big girl, and I think she should be the roller derby. In fact, she's not in the WNBA anymore. She should just go into roller derby now and straight up do that. Liz Cambridge is who I would say there. Yeah. Stargate saying, I used to watch a show with both men and women back in the day, so I know guys used to do it as well. Yeah, it was like co-ed. Yeah, and that was also right around, like, I remember they packaged it with like the dunk show. There wasn't a dunk show. It was a trampoline basketball show where they had trampolines on the court and guys could fly up and dunk it. It was like they showed that, and then they'd have roller derby on also. And it was co-ed. The teams had like men and women on them, and they were actually competing against each other on the court. Wait, no, they switched them out. They do a female run, and then there'd be a men run. Like they do one round with the jam with the females, and then they come off, and then the males of the same team would come out and play against each other. And I always remember like the female ones had more interesting characters. Like some of them were like, there was some really big women who were like tough and mean, and like they were kind of portrayed as like heels, and they had like makeup on that made them look like heavy metal stars and shit. Yeah, I kind of remember that show. Do you remember that basketball trampoline show too? It was on around it. It's crazy, man. Yeah, the guys would come and would go in first, and the ladies would close the show. Yeah, I remember that. We're talking about the same thing, Stargate. That's right. Yeah. Let's see. Comedy Gold. Seymour's dead. Yeah, you see us show up, Kareem and I. We're like wearing shirts like Steve Martin and Dan Aykroyd, two wild, crazy guys on Saturday Night Live. We're two wild and crazy guys with big chains and lots of chest hair, and we're just sitting down at the court, and we're kind of like Tony and like his friend and Scarface at the pool. Hey, look at that one. Yeah, look at that one. Lesbian. No, that's bullshit. Yeah, Scarface. Anyway, Wayne Strainer say we celebrate our ex-players. Our franchise probably won't be that kind of franchise. We might be one that keeps on top by being constantly fresh through a winning program of vets and youthful talent. I just say this. I think that one of the biggest mistakes that sports franchises make in their history is they hold on to a very important player longer than they need to. Seriously. And the NBA has good cases of this. Like I would say in some ways, Larry Bird and the Celtics. They hang on to old players just to honor them and let them play their whole entire career on your team. And in some ways, that is a detriment to the team. In some ways, I make the argument that LeBron being on the Lakers for this time is holding them back in this same phenomena. That in some ways, it's like you got to be able to go forward in the future with fresh, new people and stop holding on the past, because you hold on the past, it drags you forward in the future. And if you keep players on your team that don't exactly fit with your current, what you're trying to do, just because of sentimentality, because you had them on your team for years already and you're just keeping them around, that's a waste. And in some ways that's folly. And that is a mistake that sports franchises have made over the years. Seriously, in all sports, there's some players that are just sentimentally important, and they may pay more money to them out of the salary cap that they don't need to, because they should be going in a different direction and letting go of the past. You know what I'm saying? I understand it. You've seen it in different places. You can see it in different places. That's right. That is right. Stargate saying Liz Cambridge. Yeah, that's who I pick for roller derby. She would definitely be a problem. It's slam ball. Yeah, slam ball. Smooth saying Liz Cambridge is getting paid from her OnlyFans sex channel. Yeah, I'm not going to judge her for that. I mean, that's a valid way of making money today. Everybody who comes down on people for being OnlyFans, people get over yourself. Seriously. Let people make money the way they're gonna. If somebody wants to pay money to get panties and watch little videos of people and they want to do it, that's their life. I think the stigmatization of OnlyFans and being an OnlyFans model is stupid. It's stupid. In some ways, I like OnlyFans because it's like YouTube. It's allowed people that have no platform to have a platform. I have a platform because of YouTube. I wouldn't have a platform without YouTube. Well, maybe on Twitch, but otherwise, OnlyFans is the same kind of thing. If there's somebody who wants to be an independent creator who has nobody involved, they have that ability because of OnlyFans. So I won't stigmatize OnlyFans or put it down or say, oh, women that do this are wrong for that. No, let them do what they do. Their business venture. And if they want to do that, they're allowed to. Adults only, hey, it's no problem. In some ways, they're cutting out the pimps and the strip club owners and the people that would be coming around and taking the money away from them. And they could be independently on their own. So that's what I say right there. That's right. Don't forget the pimp cane. We come down the game as gigolos. I don't know, man. I don't know. That's not probably attractive to the women of the WNBA, that kind of look. I'll just say that. She's crazy, man. Liz Cambridge, she's crazy. Well, perfect for roller derby. Perfect. Stargate saying it's smooth. All she does is model in lingerie. She doesn't do anything crazy on there. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's levels to this, y'all. You got to understand there's some models that do that kind of stuff that are totally non-nude models and that they don't do any sexual acts or anything. And they may just be attractive people. And they're like, oh, wasn't the most downloaded woman on the internet Cindy Margolis for a while? Remember that name? Cindy Margolis, the most downloaded woman on the internet in the 90s. Did she do any nudes? No, she was just like a swimsuit model. And everybody's like, oh, let's trade pictures of her through our America Online with our crazy dial-up modems. Bing, 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 bing. Cindy Margolis. Oh, she's so hot. Did you have any nudes of her? No, because there's no nudes of her out there. That's what I'm saying. So in some ways, you guys got to understand this, man. That's right. That's right. Let's see. Seymour saying, hey, I can't knock your hustle. Get your bag because I ain't giving you nada. That's what I'm saying. But somebody out there is. Somebody out there is. You got to have the market, obviously. Trevor's saying the NBA beat the NFL for the most money bet on a championship game. Really? So I don't know if this is something to brag about or give a shit about. Seriously. Oh, the most money that was bet on a game was through the NBA, not the Super Bowl. Well, that is kind of impressive when you put it that way. But still, I don't know. In some ways, I don't care about stats for gambling stats. Is this the degenerative place we're getting to in sports? Is that we're keeping records about gambling now? This is bullshit. I hate this shit. Reggie's saying, hey, man, not judging, just pointing out what she does. There you go. I like that. Well, in some ways, I just want to speak out on this issue because, there's people I've known in the past that have been OnlyFans models, and they would gripe to me and say, oh, people are judging us all the time. They treat us like we're hookers and all this kind of stuff. It's just not fair. In some ways, we pay taxes and we do everything like everybody else does. It's just that this is our line of work, and stop putting us down and looking down on us. And I have to agree with them in some ways. And I don't think you're saying that, Reggie. I believe what you're saying. It's just that in some ways, this is a subject that I haven't talked a whole lot about. And I wanted to make my stance known about the stigma around OnlyFans models and how it's kind of stupid. It's kind of stupid. Just let these people live their lives and do what they do. That's what I'm saying. Seymour saying, all good, smooth. Any info is better than no info. There you go. I like that. All right, let's do the classic card. Go right into this. That's my cue to do this. Let's see what we get today. We've been getting weird ones lately. Okay, I will do this one. This is a weird one. This is a player I haven't thought about in a long time. All right, let's see. How should I hold it? Should I hold it like this? Okay, here we go. All right, first person to write the full name answer will get the classic card. Now, which player is it? That's the weird thing. Which player is it on the card? You can guess both players, and I'll tell you whether you got the player that it is or not, because it's very prominently two players on there. One of them is easy to get. The other one is not. The one that we'll see what you guys say, and I'll say who got it, because there is one of these players is actually the card, but it looks like it's the two players are sharing the card, and it's hard to tell which one is the actual card. So go ahead and tell me who those two players are, and we'll go from there. Robbery or Hori? Robbery. You hit the Y instead of the T. I know what you're talking about. It is Robert Horry. That is Robert Horry, but that is not the card. It is not that player that is the card. It's not him. Akeem Olajuwon. No, that's not Olajuwon. That is Horry. He got the right name. Yeah, Robert. Yeah, it's not Robert. It's the other player on the card. If you guys can remember that Nuggets player, you'll get the classic card. It's a little difficult. He doesn't look like it. There he goes. Stargate can see who it is. It is Bryant Stith. Bryant Stith. That's crazy. How did you know that was Bryant? Because that's not a very easy card to see his face. Oh, I'm showing my gross fingernail. How dirty it is. There you go. Yeah, Bryant Stith played for Virginia, and this was his 3rd year. And see, that looks more like him in the face there, because this isn't a very good picture of his on the square of his face. Either way, we're gonna give Reggie, no, Stargate got it. Stargate or I'm gonna give him 150. Actually, you know what? Give him 200. Give him 200. Stargate, you're getting 200 points for that one because his face was to the side, and also he's not totally a very well known player, Bryant Stith. I mean, he did start and he was kind of important. Stargate, you get 200 for Bryant Stith today. Yeah, Reggie's like, oh, him, Bryant Stith. Yeah, I remember him. All right, let's do a wrap up maybe. Yeah, we'll do a wrap up now. All right, we're talking today about the NBA executive voting for Sam Presti of the Oklahoma City Thunder won Executive of the Year for the NBA. And my lament is that Bobby Webster didn't get any love. He didn't get a single 3rd place vote, no votes whatsoever. And some of these guys, these turkeys on this list for getting votes is just ridiculous. Rob Pelinka, seriously. If y'all had put Nico Harrison on here, I would have been like, y'all trolling. Y'all are trolling. He's not on here, thank God. But yeah, Rob Pelinka, Sean Marks, Lawrence Frank, really? I can't get behind this. I'm sorry. So either way, as I said, my point is I can understand Bobby not getting a vote this year, but in the years to come, he's going to get votes because this year's rookie class for the Raptors is phenomenal, and it's going to be found out more and more as time goes on. And then also Brandon Ingram is going to show that was a really smart trade at the trade deadline this year also. Next year when he's healthy and he kicks so much butt for the Raptors. So I would guess that at this point next year, Bobby Webster will be getting some votes for NBA Executive of the Year. It's not this year. It's not going to happen this year. Let's see what else we're saying. Yeah, the Pacers beat the Cavs by 1 last night. That was fantastic. We also saw the Warriors take game 1 in their round against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Unfortunately, the Timberwolves just didn't show up. Gobert was a dud. He did not play well. Steph Curry did not play that great in this game. He was kind of low key. And it was Buddy Hield once again carrying the Warriors the last 2 games, along with Jimmy Butler in that game last night. But Rudy Gobert, 9 points, 11 rebounds after a 20-20 game. That's no good, buddy. And they're even saying, somebody was saying that Chris Finch called out Anthony Edwards after the game last night and said, "You're the leader. You need to play better." That's a big deal right there. So Finch called him out. Y'all, my Canadian good for today is Wonderbar. It's a Canadian chocolate bar that's made here in the Greater Toronto area by Candy Funhouse and Cadbury. And Giannis Antetokounmpo is part owner of the company that makes Wonderbar. So he's one of the owners of this company. That's pretty cool, actually. Let's see. What else did I have in my tabs? The referees for tonight. James Capers, Kevin Scott, and Mark Lindsay are going to be refereeing in Boston. James Capers, Kevin Scott, and Mark Lindsay all favor the Boston Celtics. Denver at Oklahoma City. Scott Foster's returning to the court after injury, finally, and he favors the Nuggets. And Ed Malloy will be joining him. He favors the Nuggets. And James Williams is the 3rd ref, and he favors the Thunder. So it's not very friendly crew for that. Let's just put it that way. Let me see if there's anything interesting on Blue Skies. Probably not. I've been finding Blue Skies is kind of good for politics, but not necessarily good for Raptors stuff. It's weird because there's a tab for Toronto Raptors, and I go and tab and look on it, and on Blue Skies, half of the posts are about birds. They're about raptor birds. It's like stupid, man. I'm like, what is this? It's like, I want to see Raptors basketball stuff, and they're showing me like hawks and ospreys. I'm like, what is this, man? What is this crap? Happy birthday to Sean Marion, guys. Former Raptor Sean Marion, former Sun also. It's his birthday today, and he is 40. He's 47 today. 47. Sean Marion turns 47 today. So happy birthday to Sean Marion. That's it. We're done, guys. Nothing to talk about otherwise on here. Yeah, I did the birthday just now. So let me see what you guys have your last little bit here with the comments. Stargate saying, I remember him on the Nuggets at the time with Mahmoud Abdul Rauf. Yeah, that's right. Brian Stith, LaFonso Ellis. Yeah, and Dikembe Mutombo. That's that Denver Nuggets team that beat the Sonics, and Dikembe was holding the ball over his head at the end of the line. That was a really interesting team at that time. Yeah, Seymour, you missed the classic card. It was Brian Stith. Stargate saying that Wardell got injured last night, hamstring. So Steph got hurt. That's no good. That's no good. That's not good for the Warriors. Not good at all. Go on then, Minnesota, and get past them too. In some ways, Minnesota, you're a team that I was shaky on during the season. I believe way more in the Grizzlies and the Thunder. But right now, the Wolves are getting a better, clear path to get somewhere in the playoffs, having had to play the Lakers and the Warriors in the first round. Two teams that are darlings, but in some ways, they're cardboard teams. They're going to go run through. Watch. Get run through. Wayne saying, I've been watching basketball since the Caribbean, since the 80s, and much more consistently since I've lived here for 30 plus years. And I've never heard of these players on the cards. You don't know who Bryant Stith is? Bryant Stith was a pretty important player for the Nuggets as a rotational player. He was like a starting small forward for them right around like 95, 96, I want to say. I don't know. What's it say on the back of the card? He was on the team. Actually, yeah, I was right. He's like 92 to 95 on this card right here for Dallas or Denver. For Denver. Seymour saying, Lex, do one more. I do them every day. You really want one more? I mean, I have to get, if Trevor wants to say yes, I'll do it. Trevor, you decide right now, since you're the commissioner fund and you bought these cards, do I do another classic card just by the request of our sheriff? I will do another card if Trevor says yes. If Trevor is even here, he might not be here anymore. He might have taken off for a second. Let's see. Wayne saying Steph was injured last night, hamstring sprain, left the game early. This is bad. This is not good for the Warriors. I'm gonna tell you that right now. And Jimmy Butler's been kind of beat up too, so it's not good. Yeah, Dale Ellis was on the Nuggets team around then too. He was more well known for his time on the Sonics and the Bucks, but he was a Nugget for a while. Let's see. Stargate saying, me too, Wayne, since in the 80s, but I used to watch a lot of NCAA on ESPN as well. So I know a lot of these players on their college teams. Yeah. Brian Stith was a pretty big college player for Virginia. Yeah. He was pretty well known on his NCAA tip for what he did. Yeah. Rodney Rogers. There you go. There's another guy. He is a sad case. What happened with him? He had an ATV accident and he's been hurt and like he's paralyzed and he's bedridden. And yeah, that's really sad story with Rodney because like he's still alive, but he really got in a bad neck injury and it really changed his life. And sad. LaFonso Ellis from Notre Dame. Yeah. Ray LaFrance. Yeah. Kansas Jayhawk, right? Kansas Jayhawk. Ray LaFrance. Yeah. And Rodney was Wake Forest. That's right. Yeah. Kansas Jayhawks. Ray LaFrance. That's right. I remember that. All right, y'all, let me get out of here. I'll be back tomorrow for the Thursday Think Tank. Tomorrow will be a call-in show on the phone. You guys can call me, and we'll put you on the air, and we're going to talk probably about Common Malawach. So I think we'll do the first draft profile, and it'll be on Malawach, and we'll get a little more in-depth about talking about the possibility of him getting drafted to the Raptors this summer. Of course, this is going to be a pre-lottery think tank. So, but I feel like he's the one we should talk about first. So that should be the Thursday Think Tank tomorrow, barring any crazy huge news that happens tonight that may change the subject at the end. Ooh, Robert Pack. That's a great one right there. Robert Pack had some hops. That man could get up there and throw it down. Robert Pack was fun to watch. Yeah, he was. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching me. Please like, comment, subscribe, share, join the channel. If you join the channel, you get access to our Facebook group, which is run by the superfan Monique Lawrence, and also our Discord server, which is a place where I cohabitate and act a fool on there, watching some goofy old wrestling, stuff like that on there. And you can have fun and access to talk to me at other times other than on the show if you want to talk about Raptors or NBA or wrestling, stuff like that. Either way, join because membership has its privileges on this channel. Yeah. And once again, also, we're doing Raptor Freak get-together June the 7th for Monique's birthday at the NBA restaurant in the afternoon down on the Queen's Quay at the official NBA restaurant in Toronto. So come on down on June the 7th. It's a Saturday. We're celebrating Monique Lawrence's birthday, and it'll be a good, fun time. We did it last year, and it was a blast. So we're going to do it again this year. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching me. Please like, comment, subscribe, share, and let's go Raptors. Let's go tempo. Let's go tempo.